Hey guys, and welcome back to the Days End Podcast in Season 2. For context purposes, our first interview for Season 1, Rise of the Phoenix, still our most listened to podcast, was our first in-person session, and have that guest on board again for Season 2 opening is Christine Wallis and her boyfriend Abel, which I'm kind of biased for the name, Abel. And so we're just happy to be back. I mean, I know You've got a lot on your plate, or you have in the past, and we kind of got a chance to catch up with you before the podcast started. And so we're excited to dive into this session and just kind of keep it chill and see what else has developed over the last year. I don't remember when that podcast was.
About a year ago.
Almost.
A year.
Just
Exactly.
about a year on.
It was
on
like
the
July
money.
last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is like,
A reunion.
Thanks for
And
having
Yeah.
me back.
yeah. Christine, tell us, what is new on your plate? I know last time we took off from Season 1, you didn't really have any more room on your plate. And so I know in conversations that we've had, kind of backed off of some vlogging and that sort of thing. So what's new in your world?
Okay. Well, when you guys saw me, I was going through a divorce, which was it was fresh and new. All good things, but on both ends. So, went through a divorce and I still have no room on my plate. My business has taken off. So I have taken on a lot of new clients. Boudoir is still blowing up. So
And you had just started that, I think.
Yes.
I think literally you started
that
about
day.
So it was
Oh,
probably,
really? The day of the podcast was the day that you started?
yes,
Okay.
okay. I think I had interviewed with her that day. So I'm all on my own.
You talked about that, yeah.
Yeah, all on my own now. So have my clients. I'm booked all the way till 2025. So
Okay.
yeah, it's pretty exciting. I had a session today. So
Which that's pretty cool because I think, when we had last touched base with you were talking about, the grind you had to get to that point, basically, right? Where you escaped the 9 to 5 kind of, and you could do your own thing, but you're doing multiple things, weren't you? At the time for kind of multiple people. Now, are you just set?
I am just in my lane. I do Sage and Hawk. So I run a bunch of people's Instagram accounts and create content for them. So I'm doing a lot of video and photo work, and then still coaching. I say coaching. I do personal training now, so I don't coach. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Is Sage and Hawk, is that yours?
Yes, it's strictly mine now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that name. That's such a sick name.
I know. I debated I went back and forth. I was like, should I rebrand and change the name? And I was like,
No.
Sage, if I ever had a kid, Sage for girl, I have my girl. She's right here next to us. I was like, I can't change the name. It means too much to me. So
Yeah. So that's cool. So booked out until 2025 for Boudoir, which is crazy.
yeah, it's
Because
insane.
That's pretty nuts. Just
Well,
for picture.
So what is from that podcast from day one, went and interviewed, walk us through that process of from then to now getting booked out. Is that you, multiple photographers, or is it just
So
you?
The whole process started, I worked for free pretty much for I want to say 6 months, 7 months.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, I would say a year, about a year. No, we'll say 6 months. So I worked for free for 6 months. I basically did shadowing, kind of just shadowed her, learned the process and everything. And then I started booking clients. My commission was a lot lower. So now I'm all on my own and my commission went up. So
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And it's kind of cool. We run it. So Heather likes to work Monday, Tuesday. Esther's Wednesday, Thursday, or Wednesday, Friday. I'm Thursday, Saturday. Since
Is Heather your okay.
she's the one who owns the studio and everything.
Okay.
So Esther was the first photographer she hired on, and then I was the second one that she
kind of
brought
took
on.
you in, and it's kind of just
Yes.
went
So
from
Heather's
there.
kind of wanting to do the business thing more so than photography. So that's why we're the main photographers, I guess.
And then it just all kind of filters through her.
Uh-huh.
And is she distributing all that content, or you're already kind of in that world? So is that on you? Are you marketing for it and everything?
Well, I do manage her social media account, so I run their socials
with Sage.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Two birds.
So
one stone,
I
that kinda
create.
works.
Yeah, that's what I love about whoever I'm, close with. That's kind of who I'm doing their social media.
Yeah.
So Legends, for example, I do their did their social media, so I work there every day. So just made sense, type thing.
I'll tell you. I don't know how much you know about this dude, but I'm in the world of like trying to figure out how to run the social for TDEP, and it is.
Oh, it's so hard. Huh?
It's like ridiculous.
It's hard.
Yeah, you think that you're just going to come in and like start a page or like a business account. To do that for like, how many would you say are on your?
I think I have
Boudoir?
7 right now. And that's
a-
not including myself. So like 8, including myself, which I've kind of dived down. I don't post as much as I used to.
Yeah, we talked about that.
I just don't have the drive. It's weird.
Will will call me a cheater, you know, because I started a company, right? Abel, I kind of talked to you about that, what we were doing, but you know, I started a TikTok for it, and he's like, "Man, how'd you get so many followers so quick?" And I was like, "Man, no, it's kind of flexing."
Yeah.
And it was when he just started, you know, getting into TikTok, and he's like, "You paid for promotion." I was like, "Maybe a couple times,
Maybe a few times.
He jumped to like 100,000 views. I was like, dude, you boosted. I was like, you paid $75 or something.
What is your thoughts on that? Like, what do you think about people who pay for followers or pay for boosts?
Well, interesting question. I was actually talking to him about this the other day. So it's almost the way I feel like is media is getting to the point where they only want certain agendas, kind of, right? And it's really hard to get a bunch of followers unless you pay now.
Yeah.
Because it's going on like a pay grind. I don't know if you can agree on that.
Yeah.
Like it's almost, I feel like there was a window at some point where it's easy to get boosted through the window off of like self-advertisement. But I feel like to hit the algorithm now, it's almost like you kind of have to boost, but then again, you're just getting bots half the time. I mean, almost all of them are bots and spam.
I guess that answers my question because I'm like confused. Like, how could I pay $15 and you guarantee me people to follow me unless you control those accounts? I don't understand it. But it's like Facebook still has like 80 to 100 million fraudulent accounts that they're not going to get rid of because it's traffic. You know, so it's probably the same thing. I just don't. I guess I don't have a good opinion because I don't understand it fully. Like how I know I pay $15, it gives me more follows, it gives me more people that come through the account, and maybe that's just exposure. They like my content, but how many times are you actually like saving to For You page?
Yeah.
My wife a lot. I don't very much because I'm just not.
Or are hashtags still a thing?
Yeah. On TikTok, 1,000%.
See, like, well, I mean, not TikTok, but like, when was it? So back in the day, probably like 2011, 12. I used to be a really big shoe collector.
It was.
Okay.
They would limit you on how many hashtags you could have.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember that. You could only have so many.
And that's what I would do is I would just like hashtag Air Jordan, Nike, whatever. And I'd start getting all these followers. And I was like, I mean, obviously some of them probably were bots because they're like, hey, shout us out and we'll shout you out. And I'm like, no.
I think that was part of that window that I was talking about. I don't think it's as easy to
that
like
old school window
to hashtag like that. It's not a thing. Like you're going to pay for us to.
Because I would see things like that too, where these bots would say like, if you pay X amount of money, we'll guarantee you like 100,000 followers. But I was just like,
yeah.
I mean, I thought I'm not like her or like in the photography world, you know. So I was just doing everything off my phone and then a filter. So I was like, because like back then there used to be some like pretty cool like websites that would show you like they'd showcase your shoe pictures. So I was always like, man, I'm just gonna let my photography do the thing, and then if I get follows from it, then so be it, you know.
Which that shoe head world is like. That's
stupid.
That's a deeply
it
rooted.
has gotten. It's insane now. Like I don't even collect shoes anymore. That's what I told her is like, you'd be surprised like the amount of shoes that I had. It's not so much that I had quantity, but I had some like quality ones, you know.
Yeah.
Like I had some Jordans that, like I was even telling her like whenever the Travis Scott Dunks came out, like I had a pair of those, and I think I spent like $700 on them, and then seeing like the resale value on them now,
it's
like
insane.
they're going in like thousands. I'm like, dang,
It's insane.
Off
Isn't it?
whites and like
it's insane. Yeah.
I just don't understand, I guess, a lot of that. But also like, so how does, without sharing too much like proprietary information, how does Sage and Hawk work? Is it just, are you capturing the content? Are they capturing the content and then sending it to you? And then like we do that with the marketing for my company, you know, for CKJ, but.
So that's kind of what sets me apart because there's people here in West Texas that charge $3,000 and they are making these people send them the content. I'm creating the content. I'm literally running your page as you, acting as you.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm literally just running around 24/7 while he's yelling at me, and he's like, stop taking on so much.
Wait, so 7 accounts or 7 people that you do marketing for, you're getting content for all 7.
All
yeah,
7.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And
That's what I'm saying. Sometimes it drives me insane where I'm like, girl.
And it's like,
Chill out for a minute.
yeah, and it ranges. Like I have a pet groomer, and then I have like an oil field company. We're driving out in the boondocks searching for these guys.
You spend an hour, you spend 30 minminutes. Like what's...
It depends.
This is all damn day.
Yeah, it's
basically.
usually an
Yeah.
8-hour day.
Like sometimes I go with her on some of these things. I'm just like,
I was gonna say, so do you think there's a point for you where you'll have a assistant help you? And
I actually did hire my first employee, so I do have a girl on board
That's
with
awesome.
me. Her name's Brooke.
What's her role? What does she do?
She's learning. She knows phones. She knows how to make awesome Instagram reels. She's not good with the camera yet, or she doesn't feel
I think I saw the
confident.
post on her. Yeah, she's gonna be.
Yes.
She's the one that made the reel, and that's
Yes.
what,
She's shadowing you, best. She's his predecessor.
And she was like, I want to, apprentice you. I was like, heck no. Like, you're an employee. I'm paying you. Like, we're in this.
Yeah,
So she has great ideas and stuff. So
that's good. That's good.
man. Yeah, that's. I can't imagine.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. Like, so I know you walked us through like from point A to point B on season 1. Like, walk us through like the updated version of your schedule, because like now that we're talking about this, I'm like interested to see what that looks like.
It still hasn't changed really. So I still wake up 4:20. I train people from 5 a.m. till 10 a.m. So that's like my only training session. So I stop.
I think that increased by like 2 hours. I think it was like 5 to 8 last time.
I took on a few more people. I'm training my cousin. Like there's people that really mean a lot to me in my life that I don't mind being there and training.
Yeah.
But I'm training them from 5 to 10, and then that's when my day kind of kickstarts. Like I'm going into meetings, I'm grabbing content. I'll schedule days where I'm just home all day editing. And then of course,
I can't imagine. Yeah,
it's a lot of editing hours that people don't see. So, and then trying to balance life with a boyfriend and just have a life, which he's really helpful with that. He tells me like, lay down for an hour. I'm like, no, must edit.
You feel like that's like where you receding off of like vlogging a little bit is coming from. Yeah.
So that's why my stuff has kind of taken a backseat, because I'd rather just enjoy life in the moment than.
Like I said, TDEP 4 months off. Like he
basically his boyfriend, right? I'm not. He's the editor, so
yeah.
I'm like, hey,
You're the side chick.
I told him. He's like, no, we need to start now. We're gonna send this episode.
I made it sound like it was my idea.
We have to. It's do or die, right? And then I'm like, hey, how about we just get a season knocked out and just release it at once? I said we can just take, and it's not stressful.
Yeah.
We just do that. And he called me the other day. He said, I know this wasn't your idea. But I think if we can all come to terms, I think we should just wait to
He
put
was
off the
flipping
season.
out on
But
it.
I was like, man, absolutely. The stress. The problem is getting anxious, right? Because then we have to think of things to talk about instead of just coming and talking. And we're over here like, what's our topic going to be? I mean, the amount of episodes we did in season 1, we were talking about our growth coming into season 2. I mean, how many fumbles did we probably have?
We released 25 episodes of TDEP.
Probably had like
and then
25 butchered,
2 or 3 episodes of the Plunge, which we just knocked off.
Yeah.
But we probably did over like 40 or 50 episodes that were
That's
like
insane.
And they were just, we were eager. We had nights
drawing
when
blanks. You're like there for like 2.5 hours.
we were trying to podcast at 10 after,
but
we
no,
were
but I
working
feel
out
like
in the field.
that's where you grow on a lot of things. Like I actually, like her, she likes to listen to a bunch of podcasts. And I mean, there for a while I did too, like I'd listen to some random podcast, like, I mean, I was listening to Pat McAfee before he even blew up to what he is today,
on TV now.
Yeah, like I've been listening to Pat McAfee since like day 1, since he decided I'm done with football. Because that's what I told her. I like listening to. I mean, because obviously I like watching football, So I like to listen to some of their stories, their locker room issues, stories, like all that stuff. That's entertaining to me, Yeah. But Pat McAfee, being the way he is, he doesn't just stick to football players. He goes to artists, movie guys, and there was one that they got Seth Rogen on there. And he was actually saying that there was times that because obviously James Franco was his side dude, right? So they were talking about like, man, there was times whenever, because they asked him that question, well, how do you know which movies are going to be like a hit? Like, do you know this first off? And he's like, no. He's like, there's times that we would sit on our couch for fucking months at a time, even a year at a time, where we're writing a script and then we just decide, no, it's
Trash.
it's not going to work. So I'm like, man, that'd be insane for an entire year just to like sit on a couch and just decide, let's write this script, and then
nothing comes out.
Nothing comes out of it.
Yeah.
So then you start all over again.
All over
I'm just
again.
like, man, a whole year, like I'm not talking about a week, I'm not a month, but a whole year of just writing, and then you just decide, no, I don't think that's going to take off anywhere.
Yeah, it's like it's exactly like the podcast. As well, I was telling her before we started here. It's like, imagine, what did we set up for, like an hour?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So an hour, and then all of a sudden I hit the mute button or something, which now I'm freaking out about.
Yeah.
You know? But I did that once before, and it was like an hour and a half, like probably the best podcast with Chris Jackson, and I had hit the mute button. I've never done that before. So I'm like trying to listen to the audio back. The
You're
visual
like,
was perfect.
Where is it?
Yeah, it's like I could dice it up and just make like a collage of like snippets of our face, but and then I like looked down and I saw the mute button on the computer. I was like, you son.
Mm-hmm.
So
did you want to throw up too?
It was mad. I was pretty mad. Yeah,
but I mean, it's like anything else, just trial and error. You know, I mean, you're not gonna know until you throw it out there. I mean, it's not gonna be perfect every time. You're gonna run into those obstacles, but
Throwing shit at the wall, it's gonna stick.
Something will stick.
But like I said, I mean, but then next time you learn off of it, and you're like, okay, let's make sure that mute button's not.
I was like ready to get some clips and just take the mute button off. Like, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
but checks to make sure.
Yeah, you got to. But but it's like the difference between TDEP was like a huge, like the reason why it's here was kind of like a huge push for how does somebody who works all day come home, you have a family, whatever it might be, right? Or you just have a life, and then you're trying to figure out how to like start and run a podcast. So like Pat McAfee, coming from being a football player, he probably had resources, right?
Oh yeah,
people he could reach out to. Like that's how it started. You come from the bottom, I'm sure, of like social media marketing and vlogging, and I mean, you get on YouTube, and that's all I do is I like investigate YouTube on how to be better at what I'm doing. But I don't have resources where I can go spend $25,000 and get like a master class of like people or like influences to come on board to like kickstart the process. You know, like so Pat might have. I don't know who, I'm not huge on like football player names, but he might have like a guest that comes on who's instantly known by everybody.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, season 1 for us was like everyone that we knew. And so season 2, we're like going back to those that are like really contributed back to, or in season 1 that we know. But the big push is like getting outside of that to like people that we have no idea.
Well, see, that's kind of like how Pat McAfee was. I mean, he started off just doing nothing but, like I said, like football players and just people in the sports room. And then all of a sudden, he's just that kind of guy that's like, I don't want to just stick to that mold, you know? So he
just branched out from there.
He just branched out, you know? I mean, people that don't even have, like I said, movie stars, people that don't even have anything to do with, I mean, some of these people too that he interviewed were like, really like no-name people that you would even know, but they still have a pretty great story to where people are like, well, I kind of relate to that guy. Let me listen to this. And then you listen to it, and then it's just like, okay.
No, I'm going to have to go listen to Pat McAfee.
Yeah.
No, like I'm saying, man, some of his, from his beginning days, like.
So you need to start with that hit stick.
But he's I'll even mention his brother, because he kind of reminds me of this dude's brother, because it's just that kind of guy that you can't tell. He doesn't take no for an answer. Bug you. He will drive you insane until you finally say yes. But at the end of the day, as a friend of his, you can be like, damn, he actually went and
he did it. Yeah,
he did it. You know, it was like I was telling him, like he got me working on drilling rigs. He convinced me in not even 10 minutes to like, hey,
move from Pennsylvania
back over here to jump on a drilling rig. You know, and then at the time when he was deciding like, all right, I think I'm done for Savannah. I want to start doing this. Yeah. Like he was throwing out all these ideas, and it's like I told him, like I'd never doubted that guy once, because he has that determination, that drive to. He's a go getter. Yeah. You know, like I'm gonna go get this. Like I I don't care how many no's I get. I'm going to get a yes eventually from somebody. And now look where he's at, you know.
Colin uses the Call of Duty theory. I have a theory about Call of Duty.
God.
I know, we're going to geek out here for a second. But Colin uses the think about Call of Duty. You don't run to where like the red dots are on the map. You run to where they're not, because that's where they're going to spawn. That's Colin. So like Colin will like say all this stuff, and like people like hate what he says, but he's running in the direction of where all the red dots are going to be popping up, right? And so, funny story about Colin. Like one of my first memories of him is playing catch. I think we were in front of Keith's house, and somebody like some lifted up like F-250 drove by, sped by, right? Almost hit us. Colin, what Colin's going to do. He jumps in his truck and he's speeding after this guy. And you like, I don't know who his friend was with him, but he got him in there, and they drove off, and they were gone for like 15 minutes. They came rushing back, and they jumped out. And they're like, what's the problem? He's like, we chased that dude down, got to a stoplight, and the dude was like a 6'8" black dude. He was just like huge. He's like, we got back in the truck and we drove back. That's Colin. Like Colin's just like, he's just like got that vigor about him to just go and do what his gut is telling him.
It's persistent. That's exactly what Christine's doing right now. I mean, it's the same thing. You're going through the same trials, and I'm sure you deal with the same social media, like what we were talking about, the bots and stuff. So filtering that out alone is probably a nightmare. It's probably an absolute nightmare.
Does that affect you?
No, I don't focus on. I mean, just like before we even started, like some haters calling me like some dude on social media, that stuff doesn't bother me. It's just it's just like
in the background, like you're
noise that comes with it.
The way I look at it, it's if you're talking, like you're getting me up there. Like I don't give a shit. It's good or bad.
Any exposure is pretty much
exactly. No, for sure.
I don't care. I mean, I do. At the end of the day, it does. Some of it does bother me. I try not to look at it, but yeah.
I mean, with 8,000 followers on Instagram, I don't know how much pressure comes from. Do you have pressure? Like, is that?
Nah, I don't care.
At this point in your career, you're like, you're still fully self-employed.
Fully self-employed, I mean, I would say there's some stuff that I do. Like when I post stuff, I kind of think, I'm like, what do people think of me? But at the end of the day, like I know what hits and what doesn't. It's kind of like, I got to do what I have to do. Like, if you know me as a person, you know who I am. If you don't, then sorry. Like, that's on them to, like, form their own opinion or thoughts on me. So, I don't care.
I mean, trends are, like, a real thing. It's such a wild time.
Yes.
And just existing where, I mean, people are making, like, buku money for, like, some stuff that's...
Just like the Hawk Tua.
I was about to say the Hawk Tua.
She's on everything.
And she didn't pay for, what do they call them? Like government plants, that's what.
Yeah, industry plant. I was about to say she's an industry plant.
That's what they say because I mean, she didn't pay for advertisement.
I think so.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you don't.
But see, it's like I tell her though too. I mean, we live in a day and age now where you can say the stupidest thing and it's gonna blow up, and then. Just so happens if you're a female and you happen to be like an attractive one, then they're really gonna like try and like push you, And then I always tell her like, look at what's her name? The bad baby girl, the Catch Me Outside.
Like,
look what started with that. That was so stupid, and it just meme after meme after meme after
she was
meme.
A millionaire.
And all of a sudden, she decided, hey, let me start an OnlyFans. Overnight millionaire, it's just little things like that. And that's what I was telling her. Like, I have a feeling that same thing's going to happen to the Hawk Tua girl. Like, she's saying now, I'm not going to do all that, but you're going to hit a point where you're like, all right, that money isn't coming in like how it was at first.
Drown it out, basically.
Let me throw in that. I think I am going to start an OnlyFans. Yeah, she starts an OnlyFans overnight. You're a millionaire. I mean, it's just how it is.
Fee Finer. I think she was talking about that with, I don't know who the podcaster was. It's another female, but I don't know. The world we live in where whoever started that idea of interviewing drunk people on 6th Street is a genius.
Yes.
But see, I think a lot of it was probably like Barstool Sports in general.
Going to pizza places.
Yeah.
Typical.
Like,
I found myself hours watching
pizza.
that.
Yeah.
I mean, because Barstool, their audience is more like college-based kids, you know. And what do you do when you're in college? You get drunk, you go out wherever, 6th Street, and act a fool, and you know what I'm saying?
What,
So
it's
Imagine if we got interviewed like back in the day.
Would have been. What was the first? The first one. I know we're going off subject, but I think it was Chive. Chive has, has had a TV show forever, but Chive was it. You know, everyone was running around Chive on
because I had a Chive sticker. I used to get free car washes.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's
a movement, you know, and I feel like we've gone so far away from that. Right? It's hard for entrepreneurs now. Because you're going to get blasted. I mean, you're going to get blasted no matter what on social media. And unless it fits the agenda, that's what I was kind of talking about. Like, they're not going to want you to see what they don't want you to see in the algorithm.
How much longer do you think the wave lasts for do you think it's indefinite now?
I mean, I could see it though. I mean, because it's, I hate saying it too, but I mean, it's just, like younger generation kids that have that. I mean, because think about it, like we didn't have, when we were 10, 11 years old, we didn't have YouTube and all these things. Like I even talked to her about music like that too. Like
the Game Boy.
There's CDs.
There's all sorts of like artists that I used to listen to that it wasn't easy where you can just simply hop on to their page or Spotify, Apple Music, and you can listen to their music before you decide like, oh nah, they suck, you know. Like nah, back then I had to
burn your 10 songs to that CD.
Or you had to go buy CDs or whatever, you know.
I was going to like rent them from the library. That's what I was doing.
So I think now that because social media is what it is, like I think some of these trends will continue to, just like I said, because of that younger audience, it's just going to continue to keep going, and it's only advancing because like you're saying, like the whole AI deals
is just off the charts right
now.
I have a theory. I think AI will take over. I really do.
I totally do too. So.
I don't think we're just so saturated with easy content and fast content.
Food.
Okay, so you don't mean like the robots. You mean like just it'll take over the internet.
Well, I mean, think about it. Like
kind of
everything's AI now. Everything is. I mean, you can go get your nails done by a robot.
Yeah.
You can get food delivered to you by a robot.
By a drone.
By drones and stuff. So it's like, what's the use of human? Or it's going to go so high tech that we actually have to communicate and be humans again, which would be cool.
Have you guys seen that? What was it? The Black Box that was on like Netflix years back.
The Black Mirror.
Was it Black Mirror or Black Box? And it's
Black
a whole
Mirror.
Computing. It's like a whole like a database, right? You know, like a black box that'd be an airplane, or in cars nowadays, and it codes everything. Like if you brake wrong, but it's where all the info goes on Google and everything, and they can't even like control it. It's like an AI generated, and that's and it's so complex that people can't even like fathom like how to guide it. But that's what they talk about, like, you know, taking over kind of, you know. I know we're going off subject, but you guys hit my button right here, you know.
Well, I mean, and everything's based on likes. And that's like one thing. I don't look at my followers or my likes. I try not to look at comments and stuff, but it's also like people look at that. I mean, you knew how many followers I had, and it's like, that doesn't define me as a person. But some people are very, like,
they want those views.
And it's so strange.
That's everything to them, you know.
Like, you have a life. Like, that's when I turn my phone off at night. Like, I'm not talking to 500 people.
I don't know.
Yeah, like, hey, look how many like people.
Yeah,
you're not like going around to like social events and plugging it.
Which it sucks because and I'm kind of like being a hypocrite because like when I do sell myself as Sage and Hawk, like yes, I do get views and stuff. Like I know how to work the internet, but it's also I'm a human too. It's hard. It's a hard limbo, like back and forth.
I like that though. You know, like saying, hey, I'm a human, because half these people on the phone, they're so awkward. You know, they don't know, they're just sitting in front of the screen so long. They don't know how to act in front of people.
So I tell Abel all the time.
You see a lot of kids like that now too. You know, they don't, it's like what you said, you know, they don't go play, you know, kick dirt, you know, pick up sticks and rocks and pretend they're grenades. They're out there on their iPads 24/7. They don't know how to act with humans.
Or you can't go have like an organic like experience with another human like you were talking about, because like then you see these streamers online that are like, if they're linking up, they're like somebody's paying somebody to do that for clout. And it's just not an organic like experience going to hang out with somebody. I come to terms with the fact that like I'm not cool anymore.
Oh, same.
You know what I mean? Like, we're not going to win against Gen Z and Gen Alpha. Like, it's they know what's cool for them now, and it's like a certain style, and it just is what it is. Like,
we are officially old. So, as a new parent, how do you feel about like your kid raising up with technology? Because I mean, if I ever had kids, I always told myself I would move to the mountains and never give them a phone or an iPad.
No,
ever.
We talked about vaccines and stuff a little bit before the podcast, but like, no, we're very much like you need time to develop before you start making, I think, in my opinion, certain decisions.
Yeah.
I think it's all about environment. It's not all about, it's all about environment and influence of like what you're doing. It doesn't have to be one way or another, but you need time to just be able to go outside. And all of us grew up in the 90s, know, and it was like, in my opinion, I say the 90s were perfect. Actually, you grew up in the 80s, but about the same, right?
Well, no,
89, 90.
I'm 89 kid.
80,
right. Still, 90s
Might as well,
for
right?
sure, yeah.
And so, but like we got the perfect division of like old school with the new school, right? So in a way, we are still cool amongst like each other and our peers. But I think as a parent, I relish my time of going out and just playing with sticks or having no TV. And then having TV and developing. The great thing was we got the 90s and like PlayStation 1 to what it is now. Not all of a sudden it's one thing for the next 10 years. We were getting like a console every single year, seemed like, or several years. And
I still remember my DigiPet.
Yeah.
I had that on a little keychain, and it would die one day. I'm like, I tried raising you forever. Die on me today.
See, you can go get those now. Like they made remastered versions of those. There's no way I could go back and enjoy it the same way.
It's not the same.
You have to move past it. Like when something launched or released a movie or a game or whatever it was the hottest thing, and then you go back and watch it now, and it's like movies. Movies aren't the same thing that they were before. So I don't see or foresee Waylon having TV or most definitely not a cell phone for I don't understand.
A long time.
Yeah. We're probably going to homeschool. I'll be honest. I was homeschooled my whole life. So, I mean, I don't.
And you're not that weird.
Yeah, right. I don't wear socks and sandals.
Kind of got the same thing with my boy. Well, I told my wife I'm going to put my boy in rodeo right off the bat, so he learns,
good for you.
more manners, or in FFA something. He's going to do something that teaches him something about life, how to care for life. That's a big thing for me too. I mean, you don't even, it's the same thing we talk about. We don't go outside anymore or do any of that. These kids don't have any common sense towards it.
No, they don't.
And we were in the 90s age when we were growing up, up to 2000. I guess we did kind of get bad, right? When PlayStation 2 and all that started coming out, that's when we were sleeping 12 hours. And you think about like the strain we were putting on our parents, right? Just go to bed. They're knocking on the door. So it's like a full circle. It's kind of like a full circle, like watching it, right? But I feel like we were like the cavemen, trying to build a fire, basically, and it's
a good way to put it, yeah.
It's just progressing, and now we get to see our kids doing it, and it's kind of scary, right? All the crap that's in food. I
don't even get me started on that.
We pay like, $60, you get fast food, and it's fake. It's fake. They don't even hide it. You're like, you're probably eating
plastic
and the plastic count and everything that's been coming out. It's ridiculous. Like the meat you buy. I think that's the scariest thing, right?
Shit's free in my universe. And it's like, when you think about it, it's like, that should be free, Like,
shit. It's a real Robin Hood story, really. It's like
crazy.
a true story
or like
of Robin Hood.
A chicken going from like egg to like butcher in 8 weeks. Do you know how many hormones and stuff you have to pump into something for that to happen? That's just not like it's like an early chicken, so it's kind of a gimpy looking chicken that you're like buying a fully like
developed chicken.
That's
gross.
I'm very passionate about that. That's why I said let's not even dive into that because this could be a whole nother podcast. But I'm very passionate about like men's hormones specifically. Like we're not up to par, I feel like, in the way we should. And then a lot of that goes towards like, well, you shouldn't feel, I don't know how to say that word right, but like masculinated, I guess, to like be, of a certain stature or just like, feel confident, I guess, about yourself. But you can do both. Like, it just so happens that like there's areas where I feel like men probably want to be more vulnerable than others. You don't have to be like out everywhere,
Yeah.
watching.
See, and I'm probably gonna get so much shit for this or even saying it, but I've always been one like pro dudes. Like I've always been one that hung out with all the guys. I was always the bro dude, you know, that hung out. But I feel sorry for guys because girls get so much shit, but like, what about the guys? You know, like they have all this pressure to be super masculine, so you know, supply like a house and family and, you know, have the job and career while the girl stays home. And it's like, you have so much pressure as a, I don't know. I feel bad for men.
You know what's the most difficult part? And I don't know if you can relate to this, but like, it's the fact that now, because it went from a man could go like work a trade, like coal mining, right?
Yeah.
Coal mining or woodworking, lumber, something like that, and he'd provide for his family. Probably had passed down like land from his ancestors, and like people aren't doing that anymore. It's like people don't want the land, they just sell it off.
Mm-hmm.
That drives me nuts. But a guy goes from doing that, he can provide for his family and kids, like 3, 4, 5 more kids. Like my parents both had like 7 or 6 siblings, right? So now you see that shrinking, and it's like now people are like, I just want 1 kid or like no kids, and that's okay too. But it's like it's because of how difficult it is now, and or preferences. But now then it went from a man, and then his wife would go work like part time, like an office somewhere, and then it became very quickly like maybe pick up some more hours, and then became full time. And then now it's like both people have to work full time. Like how quick can we get the kids up to like help work? And where can like I can get another family to come in and live with me? Yeah. And like
it's insane.
How's a man supposed to
Well, and then you guys can't have emotions, or you can't be sad, or you can't be depressed. You have to be the man. Which doesn't make any sense to me. I'm like, you guys have feelings too.
Yeah, and then you get Life 365, and I'm not talking about my wife. I'm just saying this in general, but like you get Life 365, and it's like, why have you been sitting in the parking lot for an hour?
Impressed.
Yeah, I just need like a minute to like process like me going in with a smile, so I don't go in with like something different. But it's an interesting time, I think. Inflation. I'm in McKinney. I've been there for 7 years now, 6, 7 years now. And it's like growing faster than any other area in the United States at the moment. And so like, if I want to buy a house, like your house, this is awesome. Thank you, by the way, for letting us come over and do this here. Like, this is like the dream. If you were to get something like this in McKinney, you're going to pay almost $6 million.
Yeah.
It's insane right now.
For 2 acres.
That's also why I have not moved. That's why I'm stuck in Midland. This is home, you know, it's hard to leave.
Yeah. It's not bad though, honestly. It is what you make of it though, right? Like, I love being by water and all that, but at the same time, even like when we go on vacation, I was in Florida. I'm like, man, I want to move here. I want to get a condo I can rent out. You know, me and my wife had talked about that. And then for some reason I get homesick for Midland. I'm like, why? Why Midland?
Why
and
Midland?
I get in Midland and I'm like, man, I'm going to go get my Mexican food. Something about Midland is always kind of it's like an oasis, right? It's an oasis out in the desert. I mean, I know it doesn't look like it. We don't have any lakes or anything around here, but something about the people.
Yeah,
I know it's kind of gotten, more people have come here and it's kind of washed out from what it used to be. But the good people that have stayed, I mean, it's homey.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, it's like I tell her, I mean, I've traveled all over the U.S., you know, like I've seen what's out there, and there's plenty of places out there that I'm like, damn, like this place is gorgeous. Like I would not mind living here, you know, but then it's kind of like how he says you start to get homesick, you know, because then you're just like, yeah, I mean, it's like I was telling her yesterday too, because it was so hot outside, and I was telling her, like, yeah, there's people that I meet that they're like, well, describe West Texas to us. What is it? You know, and I'm like, shit, it's hell on earth. It's hot as shit there. There ain't nothing there. It's just, it's hot. That's what Midland is, you know, but it's home though, you know. It's easy to find everything, you know. I mean, there's enough stuff here to like where you can live. And I mean, like kind of like you guys, it's a good place to raise a family, honestly, you know, like it's not as chaotic as you would think, you know. I mean, we have kind of like you were saying, all these other people from other places coming over here to work, you know. So I mean,
Mississippi, Alabama.
Yeah, I mean, traffic's a nightmare, you know. People don't know how to drive here, but I mean, also at the same time, like this is a perfect place to like raise a family, you know. I mean,
it is. It's like a mini hub too, with all the people that come. I mean, you meet a lot of good people. I mean, my wife used to Forgive me, Kinsley, if you're listening. She used to get mad at me, right? Because I would stop and we'd go shopping at HEB, and I'd run into like 20 people I knew. I'm like, hey, we'd sit there and talk. Now, over the last probably year and a half, it's changed, right? I go in HEB, so many new faces. Like, I don't even recognize
anyone. Yeah,
don't even recognize half the people anymore, which isn't a bad thing. It's like a growing town, and we could dive into that a little bit too. I know it's with your work, there's just stuff going on that because we're growing. We got a zoo that's coming here. Who would ever thought there'd be a zoo
really?
in West Texas? And they're kind of circles.
You have opinions about?
Oh yeah, but
I do too. So I was talking to him about this too. So we can bring it up because I was talking to him in the kitchen. I was getting heated about it, But Abel's a firefighter, and they're trying to come after these guys' pensions, but we're growing, and we're going to go build a zoo instead of taking care of the 9-to-5 guy, that worked his ass off, and that fills into everything that we've been talking about, right? Everyone's taking the shortcut. You got the hot tui girl, but we're not taking care of our first responders, our construction guys. Instead, we're building zoos instead of putting money where it needs to go.
Exactly.
Right? So
Dustin Shellhammer, right? Dusty Shellhammer
That
and
sounds
Mara.
familiar.
Mara, pretty sure he knows you.
Okay.
But I had an episode with him for season 2, and he's a firefighter. He used to be a captain. He also worked on 9/11.
he was on the emergency. They called him in in 24 hours to go run a.
But he was kind of talking about his testimony with Mighty Oaks, and Mighty Oaks is specific for veterans. But because of his testimony and what he went through and stuff like that, they actually brought him on as the first responder. And so it's funny because even the veterans were like, wait, first responders have issues too. And it's of course, man. You think about law enforcement, and of course they're going to choose each other, because every single time they stop somebody, people don't adhere to authority anymore. And so they just want to start shouting out, amendments and that sort of thing. And so I personally have a warm spot. I have a lot of family that's law enforcement, ex-military, and that sort of thing. So I every time I get pulled over, it's here's my stuff. I don't care. Doesn't matter what I did. Here's my stuff. Let's just go through the process and that sort of thing. And it usually goes pretty well. So I feel like that was a great thing to bring up, the fact that we're willing to, take somebody like Haktur, and I'm sure she's a very sweet girl, but at the same time, millions of dollars to go to that one individual for something that's really not a great thing to be talking about. I mean, it's not something that we should really be, I think, influencing out there on, if you're going to pour millions into something versus you guys are running into burning buildings. And
I get it too. Obviously you want your city to stand out, but the way I look at it too is it's Midland. I mean, Midland is it's a money-making town.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but we're just, even demographics-wise, we're not, we have all the money in the world to build a damn water park if we wanted to. We could build a Six Flags out here. We could put a Top Golf out here. We could, all these things that Dallas, San Antonio, Austin, all these places have, but it's what do we need it here for? I get the concept of that, the zoo and all that, but
they're just not taking care of the internals before you get to the external.
But take care of your people before you're, and it's, and like I'm saying, us as firefighters, it's not like we're asking to get paid millions of dollars, no. But it's also take care of us, because people don't know what we do. Heck, 90% of our jobs is medical calls. Yeah, it's not like there's fires all over the place, but 3:00 hits up. Who goes on those calls at 3:00 in the morning? We do,
Pumping a dude with Narcan.
While everyone's sleeping, That's, I kind of think it's on, on purpose now what's going on, it's to cause a bunch of riffraff and stress, because you, just like your situation, you got the wireline guys in Houston. You hear some of it could be fake, but you're hearing all kinds of crazy stuff of these wireline guys getting beat up in Houston for not getting the power lines back up in time. They're getting jumped. Really? They're getting jumped outside their hotel rooms. And I don't know, there's so much stuff you hear, but it's that, the 9-to-5 guys, and we got our Midland construction team. You know how that is. We get every road shut down, but at the same time, I don't know the internals of it. It's not the guys that are actually doing it's fault. It's probably upper management.
Yeah,
but we man, if you're
we're
probably
the first people to judge, but we're not there. And
that's what I'm saying. You're brave. You're brave to say you work for construction out here in Midland. You may get beat up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Someone may beat you with a caution cone. That's what I'm saying. And you don't really know their 9 to 5, and it's just backwards. Everything's so backwards that we're living.
So being that I'm in transportation and my drivers haul aggregate to construction jobs and toll roads and anything that's being built infrastructurally, I can tell you it is politics. It's like a ton of politics.
I believe.
I mean, okay, we're not going to do this project until like right here. And it seems like for the general public, like the worst time possible to do it. That's
the only time for y'all.
Politically, somehow, like that's the way it worked out. Like per like when they get bonuses, when the project is supposed to end, when it's supposed to start. During COVID, like we were behind by like 18 months on RICO for concrete panels because we had a concrete shortage, which I don't understand that. But I guess people just were getting sick in the concrete factories, or I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But either way, as soon as that caught back up, everybody's rushing because now they're behind and they're not getting certain bonuses, et cetera, et cetera. So it is very much political, especially for the roadways, which is crazy, but it's a crazy world. So being a firefighter, you said you've been doing it for about a year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Doing mostly medical calls. Like, what is your take on the task? We know you're pretty much probably underpaid.
I mean, it's like I said, I mean, it's not like we're sitting here asking to get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, we want to be taken care of too,
Sure.
I mean, it's
rightfully so. I mean, it's not like it's just kind of like what we talked pre-podcast. I mean, it's kind of what you guys go for is the benefits.
Yeah.
Would you say that's correct?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I mean, because it's kind of like how you're talking about like the whole social media thing. Like people want this, and this, but then they don't see what goes on behind the scenes, Same thing with us. People don't see the health benefit, like all the health risks that we go through. I mean, like I said, there's times that we can sleep all night. There's times where we're up all hours of the night, just call after call after call after call after call, But like, we complain about it because we're like, dang, man, I just like laid down and here we go again, And
but that's the thing, you don't get to make that decision.
Well, that's the thing is we don't get to sit there and say like, oh, well, forget that person. They can suffer through the night. Like, no.
You got to get up and go.
When you look at it in this way, it's more like we're suffering for it, And I mean, like, obviously that's what we signed up for. But also at the same time, it feels good knowing that like
you're appreciated.
You're appreciated from your city. Your city has your back. Your city is willing to take care of you,
100%.
Because I mean, heck, we like you were saying, we run into burning buildings, I mean, you do that for so many years, eventually it's going to catch up to you, just like lack of sleep catches up to you. All these health things catch up to you, and if we don't have benefits to go to the doctor's office to get checked out, then it's like, then I'm sorry, but why am I doing this job too?
What's even unless you've just been aspiring to do it for your entire life.
I mean, I'm sorry, but like at the end of the day, as firefighters, this is what we signed up for. We signed up to help our community. We want to help other people, but it also feel good to know that we're taken care of on that back end, knowing that if something happens to me, I develop cancer tomorrow, I at least like to know that my city had my back and our benefits that we have is helping me pay those medical bills, so that way I'm not having to ask my community, hey, I'm going to start a GoFundMe.
I've got the funny thing is I feel like there's so many out there I love motorcycles and riding and that sort of thing, but I was never one of those ones where it's like, I'm going to go out there and do something stupid, injure myself, and then start a GoFundMe.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Crazy. It's crazy. And people would supply it, or you just don't do wheelies and wreck yourself and do it drunk and that sort of thing. But but to each their own. But I think, man, that's a very unique job to have. and duty to have,
Yeah.
especially since I've ridden with people before that will kind of go past a fire department and they'll see people or the firefighters in there and they're like playing ping pong or whatever it is. And like, look at where my taxpayer dollars, but they don't realize,
They're not up there at
like
2
you
a.m.
said, the day after day after day, sometimes like 48 hours you might be up. And it was the same thing for the oil field. I did that for eight years. And I mean, 8 years of being 24/7 on call. I didn't realize until afterwards that I actually had benefits for that. If you're 24/7 on call, you get like $2 an hour or something like that for the hours that you're not able to go do the things you want to do, have a drink, or I can't even tell you how many times I was at a Texas Roadhouse. My food just got there and I'm like about to take a drink and have to go to Kermit or something.
Yeah.
And then I'm there for like the next 3 days.
Yeah.
And so it's wild that people, like you said, form those opinions about, you guys, whether you're out there washing the truck or playing ping pong or enjoying yourself, because they didn't realize on the back end side of like what you guys were showing up to. And it's like from a mental health standpoint, which we could probably talk on that for a whole nother podcast too, is like what you guys are probably seeing on a regular basis. Like I said, pumping somebody full of Narcan because they're on, they got introduced to fentanyl. Or
Yeah,
introduced
exactly.
to
Especially around this area. Like
Right.
fentanyl is real big in this area, and
A lot of ODs and
Really, is it like
it's bad.
skyrocketing?
It's bad. A lot of deaths, actually, young deaths. We knew, well, not too much info on here, but we knew a couple that had a younger kid, and Pete died. I mean, it was
Jeez.
16.
yeah.
I mean, you can't even, your kids aren't safe. And I have a stepson that's 16, and that worries me, I'm like, man, they can't go, I wasn't an angel. Everyone knows me in high school. They can't go have fun like I did, right?
Yeah.
You can't do that anymore.
It's
It's so backwards
you know?
now. I'm like, man, you can't even go enjoy it because you don't know if you're going to wake up. So it's a push for sure. So it all ties into the backwards agenda, right? It's a push. We're not going to pay people. We'll put this on the streets, and all the money that these cities have. They keep homeless people out there. They could clean that up in seconds, but they don't.
yeah.
So
That's also a choice, though, too.
yeah.
As somebody who's
Yeah,
got a
no, for
sibling
sure.
who decided to go
for
to
sure.
California and be homeless for 3. That's just what he wanted to do. Like my
Yeah.
parents.
And
for
you guys
3
probably
years.
saw that in Oregon. I mean, Oregon's getting pretty bad.
Shockingly, though, Oregon wasn't as bad as Austin.
Oh
Austin's
my
terrible
god!
too.
Austin is horrible.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
Oregon had a lot of transgenders that we were kind of shocked at. It was,
Really?
yeah.
Yeah, that transgender community up there is like
pretty big.
It was very eye-opening because, I mean,
Because we don't see it here, you
So-
know.
so
It's
like El Paso?
there. It was insane. It was a trip for sure.
yeah, it was very eye-opening for sure.
A lot of gingers up there too.
Oh
Did
yeah,
you see that?
Gingers.
Big time.
Really?
Big
What,
time.
what do you think that is? Is that just like a?
Scottish, Irish people,
we
man.
don't know, but it was just like I swear everywhere we went, I would turn my head and she's like, "Look," and I'm like,
Yeah, we
or
counted
same
like,
thing, vice
Is that
versa.
the-
I'd be like, "Look."
Is that the appropriate term
Ginger?
to you?
no hard R though.
Ginger.
Yeah.
What?
Just kidding.
What? You actually made me say it.
I
Like,
say Scottish. Every time I see someone with that hair, I'm like, "You're my family." What's up? I'm beating my chest and getting my wardrobe bagpipes
Heck
out.
what would that be the appropriate though? Like the?
Yeah,
Okay.
sure. I mean, it's like the mean thing to say to a redhead. I mean, I don't take offense. to
Would you?
it.
So you would say redhead?
I would
that
say
one.
Well, yeah,
redhead.
we saw a lot of redheads.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, I'm gonna offend like a whole community of
Yeah.
people. I just want to make sure I do
Offended
this
me
right.
right now, man. You gotta watch out.
No, you know what offended me
Was y'all's too is love affair going on?
No, your cold plunge experience. Why don't you tell the listeners how long you lasted in that cold plunge?
I did 5 minutes.
After
The second
what?
time. The second time. The first one, I actually have a video. I would pull it up, but
Sounds like the
let's-
first time you lost your virginity.
I'll plug it. I'll plug it in there. Don't no.
I come from that era from like even when we ran track and cross country, like anytime we had any kind of injuries, it did not matter what it was. We'd go to the trainers and say, "Hey, this hurts or this hurts," and they would literally tell us, "Go fill that tub up with
Ice bath.
and just we'd sit there in that ice bath. Like they wouldn't look at us, they would just say ice bath. So that's all I was telling her. Like I'm used to those kind of things, you know, but
Probably not your first decision to
Yeah.
go do it now.
Yeah.
After
I mean, like I tell her though, like I'm older now, so I actually hurt. So whenever I go do these cold plunges, it's like instant pain.
oh really?
So like when she took me to Moore for the first time, I think I didn't even last. Like I think I jumped in there, and each time I jumped in there, I would maybe get like 10, 20 seconds, and I was just like, yeah, this is immediate pain. was like, this hurts. This isn't even like, I mean, yeah, obviously it's supposed to hurt, but not like, it was like it would immediately target my shins, and I'm just like, nope, I'm out. I'm out because I get real bad shin splints.
My second time, he was trying to talk to me, and I'm like, quit talking to me.
Yeah.
He had his eyes closed. He was breathing.
What did I tell you? I'm in my happy place. I don't know if you guys ever seen Happy Gilmore. I said when the little midget's on the little tricycle. That's where I was. To tap it in. I was in my happy place. So
that was me when I started. I would just have to put on headphones and listen to like the hoodest shit. And I'm like, I'm a bad bitch. I got this.
I can do this. I can do this.
You have a girl in the room with you or no?
That place was interesting. They had a sauna in there right next to the cold plunge, and it was nice. It was a spa though, wasn't it?
Yeah, kind of. It just wasn't deep enough. The morph was probably pretty deep.
Yeah, and you kind of have to like hunch. It's like a
That's how this one you gotta
lay down almost.
Go lay down
like
in
tub,
there, in a tub. So I didn't get my traps in there.
Yeah, best way I can describe it to like people who've never done it is like the first minute your brain is trying to tell you like you're dying.
Yeah.
Like legitimately.
Mind over matter.
Yeah. When I did it for the first time, I was by myself, and it's stupid. I put it on my phone. I started recording myself, and
my mind said, "Get the fuck out." I was out the first time.
Yeah. So I've been keeping up with you on social in terms of like the whole fitness aspect and that sort of thing. Where are you at with like CrossFit?
So I no longer do CrossFit. I'm no longer at a gym that does group fitness. So I'm kind of on my own.
Particular reason why, or? It's
really strange how you go through a divorce and how people change. That was like the biggest wake up call for me. I don't want to name any names, but like people's mind shifted differently. And it was weird. It was like people that have known me for like 14, 15 years. And then they just looked at me differently. It was weird. Everything I did was wrong. Everything I was doing was wrong. I was kind of like falling off the deep end where in reality I was finding myself. So it's kind of a big slap in the face. They didn't like who I was. And it's like, well, shit, this is actually me. So if you don't like it, think I'll take the high road and go my own way. But yeah, it was kind of getting into my personal life. We went to Houston and again, social media plays a big part. They get on my social media, they see comments and stuff and jump to some assumptions about where I'm at or what I'm doing. And they assume that I was lying. And it was just personal life type stuff where it's like, I can't even enjoy my personal life.
Which in a place like Midland, Odessa, you can't escape it.
No.
It's just difficult being in Midland, Odessa where everything gets around. So I would understand why stopping in those group activities and just going somewhere where you can kind of isolate. Is Legends like that at all? Or
No, Legends is amazing. That's where I work out. And I started my OG coach from like when I started CrossFit. I went back with him. Yeah. So me and him are doing personal training together. And I'm just trying to find that love for fitness again. Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like the fitness community in Midland is so cutthroat and
culty.
Yes.
Really?
Very
culty.
It is. And I hate that. You can't be friends with this person, or if you're not at this level, or if you're, I get it. I'm a very different individual. I'm covered in tattoos. I cuss a lot. I do boudoir. So I already have like a target on my back. Like I'm not so I don't know. It's just hard. It's hard finding the weirdos that accept you.
The stand.
It's kind of exciting though, like a love-hate relationship where it's like, okay, you're forced out of something that you're comfortable doing or you were comfortable in, and now you have to kind of get outside of that and do something new. But at the same time, it's kind of like
exciting.
Yeah. I saw on your social media, like you kind of bringing everybody along for the journey, which is exactly what I'm doing or trying to on TikTok. So
which and I love seeing your fitness stuff. I hadn't weighed myself since 2020, and I weighed myself for the first time today, and it's kind of like an oh shit moment. But I want to be as raw as possible and tell people like I haven't weighed myself because I suffer with like number. I don't know. It's weird. Numbers kind of freak me out, or I get so attached to those numbers where that's all I think about.
Yeah.
So
it's not even worth it. It's crazy too. The more you weigh yourself too, the more you're probably going to end up gaining weight that way too, right? Because you're stressing yourself out. It's unhealthy stress. And I've tried getting that with my wife too. Me and her, like, I'm trying to unglue, right? I got fat as crap. I started drinking so much beer here lately.
He says that. He literally has.
I know. I'm like, you'll agree.
I'm
broke
still-
200. Like, dude, you don't even understand.
I haven't broke it yet, but well, the thing is, it's the same thing. Like your weight scale, I do the same thing. If I go eat Whataburger, I'm hopping on the scale right after. I'm like, damn,
What
I
was I
weighed 3
thinking?
pounds. I weighed 184 this morning. Now I weigh 190, 193 at nighttime. I'm like, what's going on? It's the same thing, but I bring more stress in, and I can agree with that totally. So
I like Cody though. Cody's
we're
atmosphere
gonna
is
break
like,
our skills. That's
or
what
his attitude is like, he's like, man, I just gotta, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna get a jump burrito today. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like,
I'm not gonna lie to myself. I'm being honest with
I'm gonna be
myself,
honest with everybody.
Yeah,
He'll call me just. That's why I love this guy so much. 16 years of friendship. He'll call me just to go, Will, I'm getting jump burrito, and there's nothing you can do about it. I'm like,
I'm not even fighting you.
yeah, like.
Well, he would call me and I would mute it, right? I'd mute it and I would unmute it. And he said, "So what the hell did you order? Why'd you mute me?" I wouldn't even tell him.
know.
I
And he's
wouldn't
like,
even tell him where I was at. I would just say, "Hey, man, just give me a second." I'd mute it. I didn't want him hearing me order.
Yeah, because it's embarrassing.
He's like, what'd you order, man? I know you're at a fast food place. I'm like, yeah, you got me, man.
it's Taco Tuesday, bro. Like, I can't help myself.
That's how he is. Since we've been together, like he brings home hot Cheetos and stuff, and I'm like, fuck, it's so good. I can't stop.
Yeah,
so
but
then I
it's
get
just
mad
getting
at
to a
him.
point where it's like I'm about to buy my own little
Oh, yeah.
mini fridge and
Just keep it in there.
keep. She ain't getting the keto because that's the thing is
I'm like a gremlin
her. You bring any kind of snacks around her, she wants to eat them all
immediately.
immediately, and I'm like, no, you eat some tomorrow.
No.
Okay.
Bag's gone.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Me and my wife are like polar opposites. So, like, I'll go get Cheesecake Factory. I'm eating mine tonight.
Yeah. Done. Like
Pizza, large pizza, I'm eating the whole thing
Same.
tonight. She saves it. She saves half the pizza or
Yeah.
half the cheesecake.
That's
That's
what you
it.
do. Yeah.
Gotta have
Well,
some cold pizzas, man.
Yeah.
There's an
Exactly.
unspoken
That's it.
rule that if it's also there again by later that evening, the next night, that's
It's
also
mine.
mine. That's
Yeah.
mine again.
Yeah.
that's how I think too.
And
Yeah.
that's
He'll
the thing
leave
is
for work.
she thinks that she's slick and I'm not gonna notice. So yeah, I immediately know where I put
I love you,
certain
baby.
things, and I'm like, I'll open the cabinet and I'm like,
Yeah, he tries to hide shit from me.
Yeah.
So I'll open a cabinet. I'll be high
I'm about
as
to
fuck.
start doing
Open the
that.
cabinet. I see hot Cheetos. I see like the bag. It's like glowing. I'm like, oh yes.
Found you.
Yep.
yeah. So I'll text her and be like, I'm pretty sure I had some Cheetos or I had something here, and
What are you talking about?
you just see dot 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 dot, and it makes me so mad.
That's
It
so
bugs the shit out
funny.
of me.
That's so funny because like my wife like knows ratios. She's like, that's not the same amount of cheesecake that was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I took like the thinnest sliver, like just to get a taste of it.
Yeah.
She like knows. I like measured it before I left. I'm like, oh crap.
Well, my thing is like, no, it's there, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like,
He
all
looks
right.
forward to it.
I look so forward to it. It's like you looking forward to. Damn, bowl of cereal sounds so good right now. And then you go to the fridge and there ain't no milk. You
Oh,
know.
that's the worst.
Yeah, same concept. Like I'm like,
You ever
damn.
use a beer in it?
But no, this is like I said, man. I'll be looking forward to whatever it is that I have here to snack. You know, I'm like, fuck yeah. I get here, open the cabinet, gone, and I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
Actually got in a fight in Lubbock in my college days because of that, man. I was dirt poor because I was buying Keystone. You know, I didn't make much money. I worked at a car wash there in Lubbock. And someone ate my last can of raviolis. I told them not to in my apartment, and it was on. I mean, we fought through the whole,
yeah.
that was like life or death, man.
Yeah, raviolis. Those are fighting.
Ate my Chef Boyardee's, man, and that was...
Yeah, that's not good.
I've had an incident similar to that, man. One of my best friends, he used to go to school up in New Mexico, right? And he,
Nimmy?
huh?
Was he
No,
at
he went
the-
to it's called College of
military?
the Southwest.
Okay.
Yeah. And he took two of our other buddies there with him as well, right? They played soccer, so they
Yeah.
all got recruited to play soccer there. Well, I'd go there like almost every weekend to go and just hang out with them, you know, because they're, like I said, they're my best friends and shit. Well, there's one particular night, dude, where my buddy, he was on my shit list already, you know, like, so this is back in the day when like hookahs were still a thing, you know.
Yeah, red
Love
flag,
a hookah.
flag.
Yeah. So he was actually trying to dip out to go hang out with some girl, right? So he was like, hey, I'm going to take your hookah. And I'm like, no. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to take it. I'm like, dude, no, you're not taking my hookah. Like, just stop, you know? So then he's just like, he's already mad about that, right? So my boys, they went and got us some McFlurries from McDonald's, right?
Come on.
As soon as I put mine in my hand, I'm about to eat it. He's like, I'm going to take your hookah. And I'm like, Andrew, stop. You're not taking my hookah. And he's like, oh, yeah? Well, what if I put my fingers in your ice cream then? And I was like, then we're fighting then, dude. Sure enough, what does he do? He goes over there and just throws, and it just spills all over the place, dude. And I got so fucking mad that I got up and just like his ass, and we're just sitting there fighting. And I'm just like, there's a cardinal rule. You don't fuck with people's food.
Yeah.
You know?
It's not. Hey,
like, no.
Testimony, man. My canned food, my fake preservatives in there. I was fighting life or death.
Like, that's how it is. When it comes to food, like, I don't care if you're my girlfriend. Like, I will strangle you. You eat my fucking Cheetos.
That's why I had to get the snack tattoo.
Especially if I
ate all the snacks, so
Golly.
yeah.
Come on,
Covering the
just
bruises.
strangle
That's so
her ass.
funny. That's so funny. We got cameras in our house, and anytime like if like my wife, I'm not paying attention, she walks behind me and like I bump her and she bumped into the wall. She looks at me and then she runs for the camera. And it's like become this inside joke where she'll go over and she'll like show her arm. I'm like, it's like a little bit red. I'm like, nothing happened. I'm like trying to talk to this camera. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm like, stop.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on. But yeah, nothing sacred apparently. It's a toxic trait too because I eat mine, then hers is left over and I eat hers, so then I go get two more, and it just rinses and repeats. But yeah, it's a funny system of relationships. I feel like where people are different. That's interesting. That like we're alike, and then you and my wife are like perfectly alike. Yeah, but I'm huge on. I can't if you eat off of mine or drink out of something of mine. I don't want it anymore. Like the whole thing. Like even if I could cut around it.
Is it germs or is it?
Yeah, we were like.
Are you a big germaphobe?
No, but it was
so
like
one of them guys.
coming from the guy. Cody's always like picked up my bottle to drink. Is this yours? Oh, my bad. So now I'm like I can't drink out of both. But no, we just grew up where like we had to share a straw, and it was just we just didn't have very much money. You go to Subway, you get like one Subway sandwich, you cut it into thirds, and then you have like one drink. And so I get everything that I need out of it. I take the lid off, drink out of it, and then give it to them, and they could have whatever. And so I grew up like that. It was just we didn't have much money, and then now I guess it's a testament to our relationship, my wife and I, where now it's like I'm like, are you going to eat that? And it's like she's eating all over it, So it's just kind of funny how things develop. I'm curious from like both of you guys because we didn't dive into like you guys have been best friends for 18
forever.
Too
damn long.
What would you say?
17, 18.
Something like that, yeah. It's been a long
we were
time.
doing the math because I think I wasn't driving, so I had to be like 14, 15.
Yeah.
And he was
something like
16.
You mentioned at least, divorce, kind of understand that whole process, but like how did this happen like after like walk TDEP through?
Well, that's the thing too, though, is, I mean, kind of like how we're talking about the whole Pennsylvania deal. So I was actually trying to like Mac on this one.
Said, come claim your woman. Come claim your
like
So I need to thank your brother for bringing him back.
there you
here,
go.
because
Calling just works wonders, and you never know.
But no, that's what it was, man. Is like I said, I mean, she likes to say that I'm a fuck boy or whatever, I mean, I don't know. It's just something about her that I was just like, I like that one
From day one?
Yeah, like just from day one, man. Like I was like, I like that one. Like I don't know what it is about her, but there's something there that I'm like, because I've always been that way too, where I'm like, nah, I don't need a girlfriend, or I don't want a girlfriend, whatever,
Yeah.
But there's just something about this one that I was just like, yeah, I can see myself starting something with her, kind of deal, and then that's just kind of where it started, and then just at that time too, like I was going through like some personal issues and shit like that, and it's just one of those like I needed an escape, I guess,
new chapter, really,
so to say. And then same best friend that I'm telling you that used to go to school up there in New Mexico. He was he's a family friend of mine. Like I've known this dude forever, like that dude's, he's basically like my older brother, same thing with his family. That's my second family kind of deal. And his parents have raised me and my little brother. So that's, as I was saying, it's like my second family, and at that time, he was already living there in Pennsylvania, and he just been trying to get me for the longest time to move up there, you know. And just one day, I was just like, you know what? I'm like, fuck it. Like, I think I do need to get out of here for a little bit.
Yeah.
And it so happened to suck that this is also the same time that I'm trying to, like, work something out with this one, you know, and then it just...
Yeah, we were young.
Yeah.
It's all in perfect timing, though.
Yeah,
right?
no, he dated a bunch of my friends. And it was kind of like one of those things, you know, he dated all my friends. So I'm like, this guy is just being a hoe.
Oh, man.
You know, so he would take me to the mall and like...
In his defense, there's a song, if you want to be my boyfriend, you got to get with my friends. So
Hey.
he just followed
Spice Girls.
Come on.
Oh
Come
my
on.
God.
What the heck?
Y'all are so gay. But
Spice Girls.
yeah, he was, you know, dating my friends and stuff. And he came over one day and he was on my bed and he kissed me and it was weird. It wasn't weird, but it was just like, oh, I like this guy. Like, I have a crush on this guy. And then he immediately moved to Pennsylvania, like, what, 3 days later?
Yeah,
or...
like legit, like it was just
Like-
so quick, man. It's just
It's,
so
it's
sudden.
probably healthy, though, right? Because, I mean, it probably seemed healthy at the time.
Oh, yeah. Like, I mean, and
Probably
that was
sucked, but at the it all comes in the right time. I firmly believe in
Oh,
that.
100%.
Like, so, like, if you guys had gotten together at that point, you may not be where you're at right now.
No,
Right?
I tell her,
Like,
I still tell her, we were actually talking about this the other day too, because I even told her the same thing. I was like, you know what, if I know for a fact that even if like it did work out that first time too, like no,
Path
we'd
would have been
still
totally
we'd
we'd still be
and
a thing. Like there's not a doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a full circle deal.
Yeah.
That's what's beautiful
Yeah.
about it, though, right?
Yeah,
'Cause
it's crazy.
what do they say? You know, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. You know, I used to hate that crap. I'm like, no, not really, but
Yeah.
sure enough, you guys are testing.
yeah.
Test
I mean, people, you find your person, you know, and that's what I've told her.
Yeah.
Is like, there's just I don't know what same thing. Like I don't know what it is about you, but you've just always been like my person, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, just
We've always been each other's person without
Yeah.
knowing it.
Leveling
Type
you out.
thing, I guess.
Keep-
I mean,
keeping
I
you
guess we
level.
knew it deep
Mm-hmm.
down inside. Like, I feel like everyone around us saw our connection and our friendship be so strong.
Yeah.
That was another scary thing for me. Like, because I was single, you know, going through a divorce. I was like, I'm going to date. He was so sweet. I can't even exaggerate, like, how ironic this world is. The day Evan moved out is the day he texted me. We weren't friends for 2 years. And he texted me. He's like, hey, what are you doing? Like, can we please, like, hash things out? And I was like, let's go to dinner. We go to dinner.
Oh, wow.
We catch up.
Yeah.
We hadn't talked in 2 years or seen each other in 2 years. He didn't know what was going on in my life or vice versa. We talk and I'm like, well, by the way, like, Evan moved out. Like, we're going through a divorce. He actually moved out today. Like, he was coming over every night and, like, staying the night. We were best friends and I was dating a guy. He was really sweet and he never, like, voiced his opinion on it. But, you know, deep down inside, I think he kind of knew, like
I love you, kind of, you know.
yeah, 100%. Like, and he was so respectful. He kissed me one night. We went to Lubbock and, like, kissed me. Like, we were both drunk. He took me to Lubbock. He's like, I know you're going through, like, a lot of shit. Like, let loose, have fun, get drunk. I'm going to take care of you type thing. And that night, this dumbass, he's like, will you play with my hair? And I was like, yeah, you idiot. And, like, so he gets in my bed. I play with his hair. And then we fall asleep. We wake up the next morning. We're cuddling. It was kind of weird. We were like, and then he kisses me. He grabs my face and tells me, don't be gay, and kisses me. And I'm like, it felt so right, but at the same time, it felt so wrong because we've been friends for so long. And that was, like, my biggest fear. I'm like, we're literally ruining years.
Am I going to lose one really good thing?
Yeah.
See, and that's something that can keep you back. You know, that mindset that can rob you
Yes.
of your whole life
Yeah.
right there. You know,
Oh,
it
I'm
happens all
guilty.
the time. You know, I've had family members, you know, that have dated people for stupid amounts of time, like 7-8 years, and they do the same thing, right?
Mhm.
But, you know, I don't want to, like, ruin our friendship over, you know, like the what ifs. You know, they get
Yeah.
clogged by the what ifs, but they don't realize that is the what if.
Yeah.
You know, if you would have kept that mindset, you know,
Yeah.
well, what if this happens? Well, you're doing it right now, you know.
Yeah, well,
You
see,
took
and I
the
was-
I mean,
lead.
she was very like adamant about that too.
Yeah.
But I'm just like pretty high strung when like if I know like there's something that like for a fact that I know like no,
Yeah.
this was since day one till now, like this is meant to be. Like
Beautiful
no,
thing.
like I'm
Yeah.
Perfect timing, though, right?
it's like I was
Oh,
telling her like I'm
100%.
Took the
willing
lead
to
on
take that risk and find that out, because it's just one of those, like, there's no self-doubt in there, you know? I mean, like, I know for a fact, like, this is
it.
It was so funny, too. The guy I was dating at the time, when he kissed me, we went to dinner. And, of course, I, like, tell the guy, I'm like, this happened. And I'm, like, explaining everything. And he looked at me. He goes, Christine, you literally just explained your soulmate. And I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, and when he said that, I was like...
good on that guy, though, too. He's like, you know what?
It's a pretty mature response, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, probably wasn't the best guy, but, like...
Probably don't want to waste any time either, right? So he's like, dude, you guys...
Yeah, I think he knew, like, deep down inside, he was like, what am I doing?
If he said that, yeah, probably, I mean...
Because I explained everything to him, and he was just like, you literally just explained your soulmate. And I was like, shit.
You're right, I'm out.
Yeah.
Peace out.
And I told him, I was like, what are people going to think? Like, that was my biggest thing. What are people going to think? They're never going to believe we were friends for so long. They're going to think, like, we had something on the side, you know? Like, that was always in the back of my head. And he goes, why do you care what people think?
Yeah.
And it's like...
Because it's just like what we've talked about this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it goes away.
Yeah.
It goes away, right? You know, you may get some backlash for a little bit, but the same with the internet. It literally all ties in together. You're going to see what people want to see. They're just as nasty on the internet as what people around us are.
Yeah.
But it literally fades out. It's gone.
Mm-hmm.
It's gone.
Yeah, I could say the same thing. You know, my wife, when we actually met for the first time, I was 17. She was like 11. She's 5 years younger. 12?
Wow.
12?
Yeah.
Obviously, like, that's not going to be a thing, right?
Yeah.
And so when we locked eyes when she came out of her garage on July 6th, 2016, I think she was 19 at the point, about to turn 20, and I was 25, or 24, about to turn 25, and our eyes met. All of that other stuff where it was like, there's no way that she could possibly be the person for me, although I've been around her for so long now. There's no way, because of our age gap, and that just at the time I couldn't, you know, entertain that. I wouldn't. It just, she wasn't even really a thought of my mind. I hate to say that, but in that moment, like when we locked eyes, I knew.
Yeah.
Like right then and there. Like till we're dead, I'm gonna be with this woman.
For sure.
And there's just no way around it. And I almost messed it up. And this guy ended up. You remember what you told me?
I've had to carry this guy through mud.
Oh, shut up, dude.
We'll get on
Shut up. I told him. I said, I think I'm scared because of my relationship, and I'm not gonna name names, but my past relationship and who I am now, and the things that I'm struggling with, just like the debt, the lack of confidence, to just like allowing myself to go through an experience like that. I was like, I'm going to ruin this girl. This girl's like an angel. And I was on the phone with him, and he was like, what'd you say? Do you remember?
You're not to remind me, dude, because I probably gave you. He basically
said like that exact same thing. He was like, you're never going to know unless
you try.
Yeah. He's like, it's not your responsibility. You can't ruin somebody. He's like, that's not your responsibility. He's like, but it sounds like, basically, it sounds like you're describing the perfect person for you.
Yeah.
And there's no way I was going to let that like seep into my brain, because I was like, I'm going to Dallas. I'm going to work 3 jobs. I'm going to like make it on my own.
It was a little nicer than that, because I think, nicer than what I said. I think I told you I quit being your friend.
I think you did.
I did. I said, I'm not going to be your friend no more if you don't pursue it.
Yeah.
Because I might do your...
That's a great friend.
I said that to him. I said, dude, if you do not... You were questioning at first, you know, just because what you're talking about, the past. We won't get started on that. Chapters in our lives, right? It's hard not to hold on to chapters in our life, bad things, and bring them into the new chapters.
Yes.
I didn't get time to process.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought I was going to bleed the stuff over. And I don't know if you had those same fears for like what y'all had, but I felt I was going to bleed those things. And it just so happened that she had come from almost the same exact situation. And so we bled
together.
Yeah. Perfectly.
Like fine wine.
Yeah.
It's poetic.
See, and that's like the one thing I give us. I'm super emotional, which is like odd, but he's really emotional, but we fight and then we like get mad at each other and then we're like,
yeah, I mean, we're just like any other couple, you know? I mean, kind of like how people see what we post on, like, I mean, my social media, you can't even find me unless I like go find you kind of deal. Like I'm that hidden, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was asking her, I was like, what's his name?
Yeah. Or she,
Like, you're not
she'll
that funny.
she posts what she wants people to see, you know? So, I mean, yeah, of course you see her page and you see our highlights. You're thinking like, holy shit, like,
Yeah.
that is a perfect
Dope
ass
couple. Like, they're
Yeah.
Hell no.
You know, and no.
We
like,
had a
I
fight
mean,
right before y'all even got here.
Uh-huh. So I'm saying, like, we're just like any other couple, you know, we struggle with each other, we fight with each other, we bicker, argue, all that shit, you know. But the cool thing with me and her, though, is we always know when one is in the wrong, you know. So we,
Can't beat
It's always
that.
them.
yeah, like we'll always, yeah, story of my life.
That's
It's
what
hard.
happens.
Hey, it's hard. It's
No,
hard.
it's like, but no, because I mean, I tell her like, no, absolutely, like I know
Even when we're right and we say we're wrong.
I'm always just,
No.
I mean, it's like, because I'm very needy, you know? I mean, she's the same way, but I might be just a little more extra needy than she is.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's just, like I said, we go back and forth on things, you know? And, like, I think that's what helps us out a lot, too, is we know how to communicate with one another. Like, yeah, I might not talk to her for a few hours during the day or whatever, but then as soon as she comes home, then it's like, because I'm not strong on texting things to people.
I'm
Yeah,
awful. I call him. I don't even text
Well,
him.
see, like, yeah, even a phone call
Even
will work, you know, but, like, if I know that she's fixing to come home in the next hour, then, like, no, I'm sorry, yeah, she's probably going to hate me because I'm not saying shit to her right now,
Yeah.
but as soon as she gets here, then, like, I'd rather her see my face so that way she knows, like,
Yeah.
I'm not just blowing shit up
same
your
way.
ass. Like, I'm trying to be sincere and apologize to you for, okay, I'm sorry if I did this or this, and this, you know, and same thing, vice versa. So we go back and forth on stuff like that, you know, and I think that's what helps us out too. Is
Need it. It's therapy.
yeah,
Like,
we
100%.
communicate with
this
each
is
other.
therapy for
yeah.
me. Like I
Mhm.
feel
Oh,
I feel a release just like getting to hear y'all's story, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether y'all believe it or not, it helps, you know, with my relationship. You know, I think about, I'm like, yeah, you know what? That's how it is with me and my wife. And I feel good
I'm going to go
about
home
it.
and apologize. Like,
I feel good about it. Seriously, it's
Yeah.
inspiring. And I love hearing it from other people because, you know, you think it's just y'all struggles, right? You know, it's good seeing other couples working it out. Not everyone's perfect, right?
Oh, yeah.
And you got to find the equal balance. I always see it as like a weight scale, right? You know, it's either up or always down, or you got the level, right? It comes,
Yeah.
it
Which,
comes
and I don't think it's always like should be 50-50.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. Like
Yeah,
I
that's
come
it.
home so many times like stressed to the max.
that's it.
He's so good about like calm down. Like you're taking it out on me, and I'm like, you're right. I'm
See,
so
that,
stressed.
That comes a lot with the whole, like, how we're saying, like, we've known each other for too long. We've been each other's person is because it's like we know what each other are going through without even saying it. Like, our faces will immediately give away, like, all right, what's wrong with you? No.
Or next.
Mhm.
I'm just kidding.
But no, just like, I mean, hell, there's times that, shit, she's thinking things that I haven't even said out yet, you know, and she's already like,
Yeah.
you know, and like vice versa, you know. So I mean, it's just, that's kind of what helps too, you know, because I mean, I come home sometimes too, and I'm at a shitty day or something, you know, or whatever, and she already reads it and knows, like, talk
Handle
to
it
me,
this way,
you
yeah.
know, like,
That's what you need to do. Good advice. I mean, good.
I mean, that's our biggest
company.
deal. That's what we say is, let's talk about it. Let's,
Mhm.
you know, I mean, yeah, at times,
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's not always fun.
Well, I don't want to talk about the society, but like living in a current society where I was a manager for 50 drivers and, you know, 8 mechanics, and the turnaround where people were willing to just leave and ghost you as a
Mhm.
manager, but then they would come back. And it sounds like I'm going off on a different tangent, but they ghost you and then they come back and they're like, hey, can I have another job? I'm like, no, I'm that old school manager. You left and you didn't say anything. You're not allowed back.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Period.
Absolutely.
It
Well,
drives me insane.
I did do good. I don't care what you did while you're here, if that's the way you leave.
Yeah.
And I feel like people jump into relationships and out of relationships that same way now. So it's like, you know, you jump out of you get in a relationship really quickly, and then you jump back out of it, and then you expect to come back because like you were thinking about them. But it's like, I feel like there's kind of like a tendency for that. And so to have a relationship where you guys are able to read each other because you have so much history, whether you were best friends before or you just actually just really genuinely like each other, is actually a scary thing because the rest of the world and the society is like telling you that's not the way the majority of people do it.
Exactly. Just like what we talked about with like social media and stuff, right? Like, you know, I'm thankful for the era we are in, just for the feeling like you guys had now. You know, we don't know if that's even like a real feeling. Like, what do these younger generations feel, right? How do they?
Oh, I can't imagine.
How do they date? You know, we didn't date we didn't have like Snapchat, TikTok, Tinder. We didn't have that.
Like, how did y'all date? I'm curious.
I was hollering on MySpace.
Okay.
I had my 5 songs. I had UG Kid, Linkin Park. I said, you can listen to my top 8. You can see my top 8 friends. And
do you want to make it this week?
Man, I even
AOL.
AOL. You know, and it's almost like that was more natural. But we're in such a time where we were right in the middle of it, right?
Yeah.
So we know like respects the morals of people's feelings. But we're in an era now where it's just like
it's wild.
It's wild. And then the era before us was they just can't even fathom it. I mean, my grandma will probably have a heart attack, you know, listening to half the crap's going on. She's like, what the hell is this? We didn't do this in the 60s, 70s, you know? They thought we were hood rats. We're in like a perfect time. And I don't know if that's, you know, to teach some of these kids or what, but it's a beautiful thing. It's good to see that. It's rare now.
Yeah.
It's rare to hear stories like that, you know. People date like crazy and they don't find anybody they love. So it's awesome.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
I couldn't even imagine. I mean, I dated one person outside of my marriage and it was, I don't want to say awful, but like.
Terrible. Here, I got it for you.
Yeah. But I mean, it's just kind of like shocking. Like the lies and the shit that people feed you. And it's like, why lie?
Yeah.
Like, be honest. I don't know.
I don't know that I'd be able to do it.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. It'd be very, very difficult to get back into that scene. Like we watch, Moab has got me into Love Island.
Oh, I love Love Island. That's my toxic trait.
Dude, it's hood rat.
But I'm
my
like,
wife watches it.
But it's because I like watching it because I want to know what they're thinking. Like I like seeing their process. Like,
Can't do it, man.
Because if you're with someone that you're connected to and then someone hotter walks in and they go for that person, it's like the grass is not always greener.
So like,
no,
it's crazy to me though, because when me and Kinsler were watching that, I'm like, dude, this is so fake. Like it's beyond scripted. Like these guys are, and then I'm like, you know what? This is probably how they really.
No, I think it's really how they are. That's how they
really
think.
how they act, dude. I'm like, you got Chad bros all over, like super Chads
for sure.
I don't
steroids.
know. Yeah, that's the only reason why I watch is because I'm so annoyed that I'm interested. I'm so annoyed. There's no way that person's brain is actually wired to think that way, but they're actually doing that.
Yeah,
and it's just a wild experience. And they're 20. It's so funny because they're like all 23 to 25 and they're like talking to like a 20-year-old and they're like, you know, I've already been living life. And I'm like, dude, you don't know anything.
You don't know anything.
You know, we're in our 30s and you know, we know a fair bit more than we did when we were 20, but we still don't know anything.
Yeah, 100%.
So I'm a very big advocate for like the older generation. Like I'm really trying to absorb, like my director of safety, I don't want to call him like super old if he watches this, but he's, you know, in his 60s but he's been the first person to, we went from like relationships to, you know, business, but he's the first like manager in my almost 13 years of like working in safety that has like sat me down and went, listen, I have all this knowledge. I want to give you all of this. Yeah. Not like, let me give you like enough to where my job's like safe.
Secure.
And yeah. He's like, I'm not going to be doing this for very much longer. I don't know if you're interested. If you are, here's everything I'll give you.
Passing that torch. Yeah.
And so it's awesome. Like for the first time in my career, which is why I didn't want to be in safety anymore, was I felt more like an appendage before. And now I feel like an addition. Yeah. Or an asset, you know, to a team. Yeah. And that's huge for me. So I've just been absorbing. But I'm like huge. I'm huge. I'm like elderly people. And
I ain't an asset. You're a sponge. No, you're
trying to be.
Yeah, just absorbing.
And so
that's how my work ethic is too. Because I mean, like even being like a teenager. I mean, it's like any teenager. They don't want to hear. You don't want to hear authority. You don't want to hear the older generation tell you how it is. You know. But then it's like once you get older, then you realize like, shit, right. they were right, you know? And then, like I said, and then it carries on with you because then you start these new jobs that you've never done. And this person has already been in the job for 10 plus years, you know? you turn into a sponge, and then you soak up all that knowledge, and then next thing you know it, you've been there for a while. I mean, I can even say this, like, just like for our fire department right now, we're hiring kids that are like 18, 19, fresh out of high school, don't have any world experience like that, you know? And I'm like, damn, I really do feel old now, because I'm 35 years old and I'm over here telling this 19, 20-year-old kid, like, they're asking me for advice, and I'm like, it's weird, you know? Yeah. So, I mean, but it is a cool feeling, though, like, knowing that, kind of like you said, like, after a while, you start feeling...
It's achievement.
Like, you feel like an asset, like, you know? Like, it's a cool feeling knowing that all the knowledge that you soaked up, you can pass down to that younger generation. And hopefully, I mean, you can really tell... Yeah. It's like I tell people, I mean, I've done a lot of stuff in my life. Like, I've been around, done all sorts of stuff, you know. Like, I'd like to say I have some pretty world knowledge kind of deals, you know. Yeah. You know, but that's the thing is, if I'm telling you something, I don't expect you to... Shut up. I don't expect you to follow my advice, but I'm going to give you advice, and hopefully it helps you for whatever it is that you're going through, you know?
Yeah. The biggest robbery is not giving it, right? Because if you don't say anything, you know, that person could go like die the next day, right? Yeah. You don't know their fate, but that little advice you give them, it goes so far. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like hearing y'all's story. I mean, that always helps me. Me and my wife are doing great. It's great hearing other people that are married or dating that are just like flourishing. Yeah. You guys you're doing great. You know, I have Will and Sarah, but they're far away. You know, I have a lot of friends too that just aren't like thriving in their relationships, you know, and
I think people are scared to talk about.
They don't want to talk about it, and that's a beautiful thing. It's relieving to me, and I'm like, man, I'm absorbing it like a sponge, like what we're talking about, and it's great. Appreciate you guys. I owe you guys a thank you.
It's at the end of the day. I mean, we're humans, you know, and I mean, my biggest thing too is like, I don't know if it's necessarily like a motto or something, but I mean, I like to tell myself, like, let's be a better human than what we were yesterday.
My coaching tactic,
you know what I'm saying? Like, improve to be a better human, you know? Because kind of like we'll talk about, like, we'll be watching movies, you know, and it'll have a scene where, like, it's saying this cop is beating up this person, and she'll sit there and tell me, like, do you really think there's cops out there like that? And I'm like, well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's ugly people everywhere, you know? Mm-hmm. But, I mean, it's kind of like it is here. Like, if you're a cop and you already have that rap that people don't like cops, you know? I mean, I'm not going to sit there and say that just because you're a cop, you're immediately a bad guy, you know? But also, if you already know that you have a bad rap on you because cops are already bad, why not change that? Why not, especially in your community? Impact, right? Midland's a small community, right? So being in your small community, in your own backyard, why not change that narrative? Why not be that better human?
Good and bad.
You know? Exactly.
Good and bad. Midland talks. And that's true. I mean, it takes one person to change it. You know, you plant a seed, it's going to grow to something good or something bad.
I mean, it's like I tell her, like, there's times 3-4 o'clock in the morning that we have to go on a call because somebody has a stomach ache, something silly that you're just like, shit. Like, really? You called us this early?
It's hot. I'm in all this gear. Yeah, stomach ache.
But it's also at the same time, it's just like, you know what? Treat it like if that was your mom calling, or, you know, like if my mom called you at 4 o'clock in the morning, I would expect for you to treat them with respect, you know? So kind of the same thing. I'm going to treat that, because, like, at the end of the day, that's somebody's mom, that's somebody's grandma, that's somebody's whoever, you know?
Yeah, I have to do the same thing in my industry, especially when it comes to like driving a huge CMV that's almost 90,000 pounds. You know, we like one of the main things to drill at home is like, would you want like your wife and children or mother or family to be driving next to you if you were driving like that? Yeah, or them or whoever it is. Yeah. And usually that drives it home for the most part, but it's just
well, and I bet that's a hard like you automatically want to speed or like you get frustrated on the road. And you don't know what they're going through. You don't know what their day is like.
Or, you know, beat people up. You know, it's just the same thing. You don't know. Like everything in me wants to pull a gun out half time. You know what I mean? But I got to come to level terms.
Same.
I'm ready for like apocalypse stuff, right? And then I'm like, okay, well, I need to take a breath,
Yeah, breathe.
My 50 pallets of water and food and my, I think that sometimes, but we'll get down on another.
It's difficult to just be a human. Like you're saying sometimes.
It is.
Just to go through some of the things you do, whether that's relationships or your industry or whatever it might be. It's just, I think the reality is you kind of have to do the right thing, or you're like, in a lot of ways, probably expected to do the right thing always, but we're going to make mistakes. Like you're saying, those drivers are
it's hard.
Probably bringing their personal lives to work and that sort of thing, or bringing work back into their personal lives. You just never know.
And I'm going to bring up like my divorce. Everyone assumed like it was on bad terms, or like they wanted to create their own narrative, whatever happened. But it's like two people can grow apart and be friendly and separate and it be okay.
And it's fine.
And like, he's so much happier. He is with a girl that he fell in love with. And it's like, I am so happy for him. Like
you can't beat that, right?
Yeah. It's
all
like,
you want
why
is
would
the
I?
best, and I mean, it doesn't do any good.
Yeah. It doesn't, I'm not doing anything. Like, what is me being upset over that, So
people around just, they can't fathom, because they can't apply that to their own life, right?
Exactly.
They can't.
And
so if they go through that same thing and they're like, oh, well, no, that's not right.
100%.
That's wrong.
Uh-huh.
It's like what you said. It's kind of like an occulty style mindset, right?
Well, and I don't think, I don't want to say culty, but like,
I don't know how to describe it. I don't have a good word for it.
There's always like two perspectives to everyone's story or whatever it is, like what you're going through in life. Like this is, I'm going to use the gym, for example, like Hit for Fit. Me and the manager were arguing, this new girl was coming in. It was her first day of coaching the new 4:30 class. In my head, when I am coaching, I am a hands-on person. So like, I need to turn everything on. I need to turn the music on. I need to put the iPads out. I need to do X, Y, Z.
Sure. Yeah.
So when I got there early, I was like, if I were her, like I would want to do those things. So I'm not going to do those. Well, then in someone else's eyes, I looked like an asshole because I didn't do those for her. Like I didn't help her or have her back. And it's like, neither one of us are wrong, but at the end of the day, like we're seeing two different sides. Neither one of us are wrong or right, but it's like, if you didn't know that, like, and that wasn't communicated, then either one of us is coming off like an asshole, or, if I put all the iPads out, then I would have looked like, damn, she doesn't believe in me, and like she's doing all the steps, or she doesn't think I'm capable of it.
There's a standard. There we go.
Yes.
That's what I'm looking for. That was the word I was looking for, like a extreme standard.
But I mean, that's life. Like, if you're not communicating, you may think something different than I, or like I may have a view compared, differently than you, and I don't know. It's just hard. Life's hard, and it's hard to like.
I agree.
Communicate with people, and then if you're not constantly communicating, or like, this is why I did X, Y, and Z, or this is why I did this, then people are going to form their own opinion. You
always want, that was a problem I dealt with for a long time. I was always like a people pleaser, basically. I wanted people to be so happy with me, like, and anything I did. When I was a service manager at my old job, Mazda, I would do everything, right? I would go through. We ran off of like an email deal, right? It'd go to corporate, and if you got one bad survey, I mean, you get your dealership shut down. Yeah. And I had a guy give me all. This is an instance. Give me all like 10 stars, right? 5 stars, whatever the system. It's like, yeah, it was great. And he put a 0 on something. It was like amenities. And he said, yeah, the Coke machine didn't have a Diet Coke, and I'm diabetic. And I was like, man, that killed me. Absolutely killed me. I got it, thrashed my whole month off of 1. And from then on, he came back in, and I always had a Diet Coke for him. Just so the story, he was happy after that. He was always happy, though, right? But he was taking, like, the email so critical on there. And it was just one of those things, like, I was like, I got to quit trying to, like, I can't control what people do, right? It's not like he did it, like, intentionally or, like, any vulgar. And at that moment, I kind of like, I separated from trying to be like the best, like people pleaser I could be. I'm like, it's not healthy that's one of the biggest stressful things is just trying to make people happy.
Unrealistic expectations.
Yeah. Cause not everyone's going to be happy with you, period. I mean, that's just facts. You know, you're always going to find the one bad apple and they're just going to be assholes to you for no reason. So
100%.
Got that off my chest.
That one. But no, I mean, because I'm the same way. Like I like to make sure like everybody around me is like happy, you know. But then you also have to find that balance too.
Yeah.
But the way I see it too is though this comes back to like I'm saying like just be a better human, you know. But you're not always gonna please and make everybody happy. But just do your best to say at least you tried. Like kind of like you're saying the Diet Coke deal or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, like something so small like that, like, shit, I didn't realize that, but okay, well, I'll change it. I'll put a Diet Coke in there for next time or whatever.
Can affect
you know?
someone.
Yeah.
Attention to details. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But it's like I said, though, like, yeah, you're kind of like he's saying, there's always going to be that one bad apple. You're not going to please everybody. But at the end of the day, if you can look yourself in the mirror and say, like, I did my best and I tried to do X, Y, Z and it didn't make that person happy, then
that's it.
I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you.
You got to be happy with yourself.
At least I've made that effort to try to get X, Y, Z, and you just so happen to not like X, Y, Z. Then
and you did a good job at it. It got you all. Look where the X, Y, Z worked, man.
Mm-hmm.
You took the leap of faith, man.
No, I know.
You got the Diet Coke and you brought it back.
Exactly.
You brought it back.
I mean, who would have thought a year from now?
I know.
Our first episode at E14, sweating our butt off, and here we are in your home. And
I know,
much
it's crazy.
better, by the way. Way better than E14. This is nice.
Not crammed in a little room.
Yeah.
No. This is,
Hey, but we still have Guitar Hero. We can still slay.
Imagine year 3. Imagine year 4. You know,
Right.
There's really no like true expectation for TDEP like in the direction that it's going other than and thank you Abel for joining us. I know it's kind of an unorthodox request that for somebody who might not have any aspirations for.
Well, it's kind of like what I was telling her. I was like, why would they want me on there? I'm not interesting. I'm just a simple boring man.
No,
here's the best way.
Love stories, man.
I could probably end it with this. The podcast wouldn't be what it is today if not for his grandmother. Mimi, she called me on the phone or was on the phone with him, and she was talking about the poetry and stuff like that. And I always kind of write it and send it off. I'm like, oh, nobody really wants to listen to this, or like my songs. Like I talked about that. I think you asked me season 1, how's music going? And I was like, it's not.
Yeah.
That's usually my response because I just don't have a lot of confidence in it going anywhere. But she impacted the podcast from day one before it even started. She said, you may not care about your stories, but someone's going to care about your stories.
Absolutely.
Like somebody needs to hear the stuff that you're writing down. And by you not sharing it, you're actually being selfish.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, and I love her to death. And she just means a lot to me. She's not even my grandmother, but I felt like, okay.
She told you off.
She did, basically.
Yeah. In a good way. She gave the push that needed to be pushed.
Going into like TDEP starting, that was like in the back of my mind. It was like, okay, I don't know what this thing is going to do. I don't know where it's going to go. I don't know what kind of people are going to be on it. But like at the end of the day, if like one person gets something out of it, and just so happens every single time, it's me.
Yeah.
I always get something out of this. Like our first one was
agreed.
Like that was a testament for TDEP moving forward in our first in-person like podcasts in person.
Yeah.
To like go into more in-person podcasts and kind of breaking the ice and that sort of thing, being nervous and just kind of moving past that. So I feel like at the end of the day, like I benefit from this thing, like you said, it's therapy for me. And so being able to come here and do this for round 2, I'm just excited for the next opportunities.
I'm excited for y'all. And I'm glad that you guys have continued doing this because
for sure.
That's good.
So let's manifest. Who do you want to see? Who's going to be on season 2? Or who do you want to see on season 2? Is there any like specific person that you're like
Riff Raff, if you're listening?
I might be single then.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
No.
Anybody that wants to talk.
It's really, I don't think we're seeking out anybody other than, I think like what you're saying, it's like everybody has, I didn't believe in my stories, but everybody has a story. So whoever comes in our path, like we're open to that.
Yeah.
Like we do kind of, it's funny because I'm more nervous to talk to people that I know than I am to people I don't. Just like excited for the new.
Well, see, and I'm the same way with like Boudoir. If I'm photographing someone I know, I am so much more nervous versus like someone I don't know. And I don't know why.
Yeah.
It's like I should be more comfortable because I know this person. But I think it's kind of like imposter syndrome.
It is.
Because they're like, they have this expectation of me, and I'm like,
Expectations, yeah.
and I'm like, oh shit. Like, I have to perform and like, you know, have these badass pictures for them versus like
Agree.
someone that doesn't know me. I'm like, they don't really know who I am or like what I'm doing. I mean, they probably do, but I'm in my head, I don't think they do. So yeah, I get that.
Yeah, it's just, well, and now we have an addition on the podcast, a third. His name is Michael Greer, and he's got like a huge background in tech and engineering, works for like with the DOJ and DOD and so governmental and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But he's got 10 years of marketing experience, and that's
Heck
huge.
yeah.
Like that's huge. Like that's a one up that TDEP needs to for season 2 to like flourish, I think, and
Yeah.
go beyond just, 25 viewers or followers or whatever it is. So I think the expectation, and he said it best for TDEP for season 2 and any season going forward, is just to continue doing cool stuff.
Yeah. What y'all are doing. So just keep at it.
Yeah.
I'm excited for y'all.
Is there anything like specific we like to close out that you want to plug from your social, from your something for people to keep in mind?
No. Just live life like every day is your last.
I like it. Awesome.
That's always been my Facebook bio, like for years. I mean, since Facebook, and I still live by that. Like, life's too short.
Love
Be
it.
happy.
I appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Until next time.
I know.
Absolutely.
I got mine. What it is, what it ain't. That booty don't stink.
Oh my
Hey.
God.
Just wash it.